Hello and welcome to the start of the last three sessions for this Night's Black Agents arc. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and this session is part of the Gauntlet Gaming Calendar. This is Night's Black Agents, but with a slight change to the rules, which I'm calling Night's Black Agents Express. You can find out more about that. We just put a discussion of that on the most recent Gauntlet podcast. And I will put a link to that in the show notes. We are starting with the flaming wreckage of last session behind us, of the ship, not last session, of the ship in the rearview mirror as the group heads on to Istanbul with some details recovered, some information gotten, and some previous information that was out there. Everyone has taken their refresh. And we're going to start with introductions of characters. Let's start with Carl Pott.
Hello, good evening. I was just trying to fit in a new image for Carl. I am Pavel. I'm playing Carl. Carl is ex-Grom commando. He's the man with the gun in this team. And yeah, last time we seen him very cool how he took out the guards who were protecting some captured women by climbing on the pipes and then jumping them, and just before the boat exploded. So it was a good old sneak Splinter Cell Mission Impossible action last time.
And you will take your refresh, and I will be coming back to you to ask you about your cover identity for arriving in Istanbul. And did you take your experience up?
Yeah, I just dumped everything to general.
Okay, that makes sense. Then let us come to our next character, Peter Scallon.
Hi, I'm Paul he, him, and the character I'm playing is Peter Scallon, also he, him. Peter would question Carl's man with a gun. I'm sure Peter gun is bigger than Carl's. I think it's been tested on many an occasion, and witnesses will attest to that. Yeah, Peter is sort of man in the van, and he is again channeling. He's a ecclesiastical background, and I will be a different religious person this week.
Excellent. And then let us come to Henrietta Michaels.
Hello, my name is Alan. I use he, him. My character is Henrietta Michaels, she, her, Henry to her friends. Former MI6, uses, disguise is her thing. Going undercover is her thing. I am channeling, as you will see, every variety of orphan black I can find. And I think it's fair to say that at this point, Henry is just feeling that things are getting out of hand. In 6, we do things quietly, whereas it appears that we are now simply blowing up anything we encounter. So she is looking for a little bit more professionalism, frankly.
That is fair enough. Have you chosen your XP ups?
I did. I have to say, I refreshed everything. I didn't know we were getting extras.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, well, then I will tell you where I put those shortly.
Okay. And last but not least, James Rook.
Yeah, Jimmy Rook, black bagger, a bit of a thief, a former MI6 asset rather than an agent, and it's him who seems to keep blowing things up. Although in his defense, it tends to be because of something horrible chasing him rather than, a predisposition. He is a professional at the end of the day. It wasn't his idea. It's just when it all goes to hell and there's creatures coming out of medically sealed cryogenic coffins, or a frost woman chasing you across the snow, it's good to have an explosive in your hand.
That seems more than fair enough. We'll come to cover identities in just a moment, but I want to hard frame up a scene with one of the characters. So this is flights, probably a couple of stopovers to help smudge the trail, drop off, switch over, all of that kind of thing. And there is a moment in the airport in Cyprus, in Greek Cyprus, and that Henry, you have a little bit of time to yourself while the others are getting things together. You're seated there in that airport lounge, and this person walks up, points to the seat next to you. Is this taken?
No, please.
And then he looks at his watch. He's like, oh, and he turns and walks away, and you look, and he's left a phone on the handle of the seat next to you.
My first reaction will be to check where he's going.
You see him, he walks out of the area, and it seems like he's walking out of the airport.
Okay. I think I might be inclined to try tradecraft here.
Okay.
I am interested in whether this as a means of handoff, comms, whatever, fits with any particular organization, or is it too common for that?
I think you look down at the phone brand, you look down at the color of the phone, and you'll recognize it as MI6.
Bugger and blast. Pick it up and see whether there is a message.
Oh, no, there's someone's calling.
Oh, I see. Oh, right, it rings. Oh, fuck. Yes.
Miss Michaels, I'd like to have just a few minutes of your time here to talk with you.
And I think that's when I will get up and move away from where the rest of them are expecting to find me waiting.
So, my name is Hopkins. And it seems to me like a lot of things have gotten very deep for you.
Keep talking.
There are some of us who are aware of a certain problematic situation in our organization that you've become aware of.
Go on.
And I'd like you to come in from the cold. I'd like you to come in. I will clear things up where they need to be cleared up back at Central. And that young woman, the ident officer who I sent that information to, will make sure that she's off whatever list she's on right now. Now, I know that you're probably in the middle of something. And so this is for when you're done with that. Come in, talk to me, tell me what went on, and you can help us root out the snake in Edom.
And how would I be able to contact you?
I'm going to text you a phone number that you can use.
I'll think about it.
Let me make this clear. This is an offer for you. Your associates, they are off the handle dangerous. But you know how to handle things.
I'll think about it.
Fair enough. Be seeing you.
Then I'll remove and break and dump the sim.
Okay.
and the phone, having committed the number to memory.
Absolutely. And so we'll cut to the group arriving in Istanbul. What you know, there were indications earlier on that when you kind of checked on what the situation generally was in Istanbul, at one point, I mentioned that there had been a statistically higher number of disappearances in certain areas of the city. That was in the mix of a number of other things. But in terms of specific information that you have, one, you have the fact that a good deal of money was going from Eurydice to charitable organizations here. A lot of them spread out. But one name kind of in the sort of upper class areas, like the one that clearly is a hub for various things is, and this is a new name, I'm giving you a new name, I'm sort of focusing in and specifying information you already had, a place called the Kelowna Society.
Could you spell that for us in the chat, please?
Sure, I'll spell you how I'm spelling it in English. It is actually from the Greek.
Thank you.
It's actually, amusingly enough, the Turtle Society. And they have like little cartoon turtles that they use to label everything, and it's adorable. The other thing that you know from this would have been on the hard drive that you got last time from Vallejo. A lot of Vallejo stuff was drug trafficking, that kind of thing. But you would have known that that there is a port, a dock area here in Istanbul that had the ship arrived here, they would have berthed there. And I think the other thing you know is that, and this was sketched out just in passing in some of the earlier things, that there was a certain amount of looking into archaeological sites and archaeology articles of things happening in Istanbul. So a couple of specifics and some more general stuff, but those are all things that perhaps can be narrowed down or research on the ground to assess.
Just to clarify, sorry,
yeah.
the Kelowna Society.
Yeah.
Are they the people reporting the disappearances, or?
No, they are essentially, you know, that the French Orphic group and Eurydice, that money was going to some charitable organizations in Istanbul, and you kind of find like where the head of the octopus is, and that's on the ground. It looks like that's Kelowna.
Okay, and that's not connected to the disappearances. They're just
no.
Yeah. Okay.
No, not that you know of.
Yeah.
So, Carl, what cover is it that you are using when you head into Istanbul?
Carl, yeah, I think that maybe Turkish isn't one of the languages that Carl speaks, or at least he definitely doesn't speak Turkish well enough to pass as a local of any dialect of the, which I'm sure there are few. So he decided to play to his strong sides, as his friend Peter helped him construct this like official mask that make him like look much older and change his facial appearance. And he flew to Moscow, and from Moscow to Istanbul, and he's posing as a Russian oligarch named Rugov Vadim Marakovich.
All right, let's have you make a cover roll.
Yeah, because most people probably like, oh, a Russian oligarch, whatever. So he hopes that they will just like don't look too tightly on this cover. Well, I'm just thinking. I always have so much points in investigation to spend. I wanna spend a point from investigative to create a pool for our team to use in forgery, in like covers or something like this. I'm going to spend 2 of them, leave 1 in the pool if anyone likes.
Sure.
Carl was doing the forgery of the documents and roll +2. Not -2, +2.
Okay. Solid. It's a solid cover. You've got it. You had some paperwork. You've got some disguise put together, and it's going to stand up to some scrutiny. Peter, I know that you're a religious man, but let's have you make that cover roll.
Sure. I'm going to spend. I'm going to spend 2 from cover, and I will take up Carl's offer as I sort of helped him out with his false face. So I will use Carl's point. Thank you very much, Carl. And 2 of my own. Give me +3 on a cover roll.
Absolutely.
Let's see how that goes.
Another 10. Solid. 10. Look at all of you. And then Henrietta, what are you doing?
I'm going to use a burner phone to call my friend at MI6 to explain using tradecraft that if they want a full report, they're going to have to ease the pressure that I am experiencing.
All right.
So I'd like to spend 1 tradecraft to get 3 to play with.
You don't have to make that spend.
Oh.
You call them up and they say, we'll make it ready for you.
So just to be clear, that puts 3 in my pot for nothing.
You can hang on to that or decide not to spend the tradecraft. It's up to you, because they are entirely amenable to helping you.
I will not spend. So do I'm confused. Do I still roll for cover?
No, you don't have to.
Okay. Gosh, it's warm here.
It's that hoodie.
It's attractively warm.
Then and what is your cover ident? Is this the tourist?
Sorry, American tourist, Allison.
Okay, all right. And let's come to Jimmy. What are you doing for your?
Is there any pool left over for this?
I think that pool has been used up.
Then I am going to spend a point of criminology.
Okay.
I think.
How is that helping you build your cover? I'm curious where this is going.
Because I'm going to be a entrepreneur due to being an ex-con. So I'm using a fake criminal record to establish my cover.
Interesting. Okay. Let's have you make that roll.
You know, spent convictions and all of that, nothing serious kind of stuff, but just like a little bit, right? It seems like a fairly easy way to get a to build some sort of legend, you know, is to fake an arrest record and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And then they'll think, oh, if you're being secret, it was because you were no one wanted to know about your alcohol conviction, your drink driving conviction or something, right?
Go ahead and make that roll.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just on the phone again.
Oh,
so
that's right.
A little bit. Yeah, it's. Do you want someone just want Lowell? Could you please do me a 2d6 plus 3?
I will roll you 2d6. I rolled a 2.
2 total.
2 total plus 3.
5.
A 5.
Thanks, Lowell.
You know that European arrest warrant that you thought was spent.
I think when you all hit the ground in Istanbul, you feel the blowback from the conspiracy, and accounts are shut down, money is tapped, things are tied up. And when you hit the ground in Istanbul, essentially you have the cash in your pockets. But you get through customs, Jimmy. So you hit the ground there. And what is the next step for the four of you? Setting up a safe house, making contacts, talking to people. Do any of you have a network you want to pull up on the ground to help you out?
I mean, as is traditional, I will spend safe house, so we have somewhere passably safe. Though, as we were reminded on the podcast this week, safe houses are variably safe.
So, what is the process for that? Do you like have a criminal contact here, a spy contact? How do you imagine this goes through?
No, I think this is a solid 6 safe house.
Okay, yeah. You get one that when you arrive, it's much better equipped than the places that you've bunked before. It's clearly one, with the reinforced panic room door and, basic equipment and that kind of thing.
And I will explain to everyone that, for Christ's sake, don't break the crockery, because we have to come in here and then ghost out of it. It's like we were never here. Okay?
You're the only one who throws glasses around, Henry.
Yeah, well, I'm going to try and control myself this time. But I will remind you, I think it was a bottle.
Paul asked for a scene. So while you're getting set up, unloading equipment, things that have been sent through various courier services and stuff that arrive and you unpack here. Carl, you wanted to have a scene with Henry?
Yeah. I want to have a scene with Henry. I think as you're the trap, unpacking and getting ready, Carl comes to a space where Henry is, and he comes with like a little like box, like the spark like a present. And he put it like to the side for a moment, and he says, I really appreciate you sticking out with us in Barcelona. I know you were really hot on those tickets, but I really appreciate that you stayed with us.
And I look at the box and say, is that another fucking bomb?
I mean, the fact that I helped construct the last one, that I helped Jimmy construct the last one, doesn't mean I'm doing this on daily basis. I mean, you can like scan it for explosives.
Okay, I'll trust you. Do I now get to open the present?
Wow, you are cold today.
And I tell you now, Carl, if it's underwear, I will feed it to you.
I don't even know where that thought came from, but anyway, it seems you want to get rid of me. No problem. I really appreciate that you stayed. Otherwise, we would have sunk those poor women when with the boat. That's your. I really appreciate that you were there. Now, yeah, please unpack it. It's full on underwear, sexy nun, whatever I could pack, find it in the shop. So, but actually, as we like unpack it, it's like a toy pillar, and on the sides are like photos. Because last time we remember, I arranged a team to like get this like columns that were in the storage, and that they were sinking. And while we don't really have to like say where those columns are, I think they could have like sent us the photos of them. And I'm like, and there are like a stack of those photos of the like symbols, markings that were on those columns. And I just like brought them in this like nicely packed gift. And Carl says, like, I dig left and right, and this doesn't make any sense for me. So we can just like go back to work. And if you can like help me like decipher those out, we can like pull our knowledge, and maybe we can like get some grasp on what they were for and connect them to what is happening here.
Okay. For the girl who has everything, this is quite an interesting present, Carl. I appreciate the thought. Let's see what we can do with it.
Okay. I'll come back to
The ice breaks
Yes.
a little.
Peter, what are you up to when you hit the ground here?
I think the first thing is order 50 tons of amino nitrate, Carl and Jimmy, to be delivered to the safe house. So that's really the first order of priority. I don't know, once that's done, blue boxes. No, I think we've got a good solid lead on archaeological, and I'd like to think sort of my culture and history. Clearly, Alan could probably fill me in. I don't actually know what the degree is that they teach. What was it? Ancient arts or something, Alan? I don't know, something like that. At some fine English institution. So I'd like to investigate archaeological sites in and around Istanbul.
So I think if you give us a 1 point spend, I'll give you some basics, and then I'll let you kind of narrow something down. There are lots of sites here. Of course, there's the Hagia Sophia. There are a lot of, the wonderful underground cisterns in Istanbul. There's a lot of sites both in the city and around it. You're particularly looking for some cross correlations, especially from some of the sort of references and notes that you saw before.
And definitely some sort of Greek or Greco, I think is the official term, reference. I don't want oiled men in leather though fighting. I'll leave that to
fair
Carl.
enough. So I think a name will pop up for you because it correlates across a couple of different of these axes. You get a name of an archaeologist named Derya Kaya. She's a fairly young Turkish woman. She's done some work in Greece on, in particular, she mentioned some work on Orphic and Greek religious traditions. But more recently, she's popped up because she had been protesting the government handling of some sacred sites. And this is a kind of a historical thing in Turkey and in Istanbul, is a government being very like, we do this and then boom, we don't listen to any input. Like a few years ago, they were like, oh, we're going to restore this area. They blocked it up, they kicked everybody out, and then they actually kind of tore down a bunch of stuff. But she has gotten into it with both the government and a Greek Orthodox monastery here in Istanbul, St. Mary's of the Mongols. And apparently, she kind of raised a public objection about how some restorations of another site were being handled, and apparently met with them, and that she's kind of been a little bit more loud in that way that says to you that dangerously loud way. Does that seem fair?
That does seem fair. A definite good couple of leads there. So I'm more than happy.
Okay. In fact, I will go and grab a picture of her. Grab that. Image
This is a
inside.
solid lead because the GM has a picture.
Absolutely. Well, I have tons of pictures, so. But yes, that is a good indicator. Upload, come on. There we go. So yep, she is in row 101. Jimmy, your phone rings.
Answer it.
Hey, Jimmy, sorry. This has been a wild weekend. And I'm sorry we've been playing phone tag, says Cassia.
Kasia, good to hear from you. Could you do me a favor? Like, it's going to sound a bit weird, but like, just no, never mind that, because I just realized what happens if you cut yourself is the vampire comes out and rips you to pieces, right? Like, I've thought that one through. Yeah, where are you at? What's up?
I had to change out. There was some heat from you after Paris.
Yeah.
So I had to change out, and then I met up with your friend, and we've been hanging and helling around out here.
Oh, I am my friend, eh? Which one?
Lucy.
Lucy. Right. Where does Lucy know me from, Kasia?
And she names a couple of things that you've done in the past. Clearly has some knowledge of some of the jobs that you've done.
Where are you at the moment, Kasia?
And she says, I'm in Berlin.
And where'd you meet Lucy?
I ran into her in Paris. She said that you had sent her. We've been hanging out.
Is she with you now?
Absolutely.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do you remember Dublin?
She wants to talk to you.
Yeah, yeah. Pass me on. But do you remember Dublin?
And what is Dublin?
Dublin is when an undercover cop tried to get into us by pretending to be one of our friends' who'd been snatched.
And I think there'll be that pause, and she's like, "Yeah, I remember Dublin."
Let's always think about Dublin, eh? Go on, pass me over to Lucy.
Okay. Jimmy.
Lucy, good to hear from you again.
So I have a message from my mother to you.
Greek, is she?
No, not originally.
Romanian?
Eventually, her family settled there.
Interesting.
But I'm a Brit through and through, old country.
Oh, one of the old, what's it? What, a duke of hell, Duke of Edom, maybe. That's what they used to call it, isn't it?
So my mother has said that I should pass on to you that when you have finished your current job, that it would be a good idea if you maybe looked at retirement.
I mean, I think that's a bit optimistic, frankly, if you make it through to retirement in this life.
Well, she just wanted me to pass on the word. I've been having a delightful, delicious time with your friend Kasia.
She is good company, really good company.
She
you know what, Lucy?
is a tasty dish.
Was it Lilith, by any chance? Is that where?
My mother?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
quite a woman, so I've heard.
She is.
Did some really good work back in the day. Seems a bit odd that, her daughter would let it all go to waste.
I am too old to banter with you.
Then why don't we cut the shit?
Finish with the Greeks and take yourself off the table. And then you can have your friend back.
Sure. You're in Berlin, right?
For the moment.
Yeah. Get her to show you Tech Noir. Great club. Wonderful place. May as well enjoy yourself while you're alive, eh?
Oh, you are feisty, aren't you?
I think I'm on about 8 of you guys so far.
Oh, no, I don't think you've done anything to anyone like me.
There's always tomorrow. But, I hear what you're saying. We'll see if I make it through the Greeks, huh?
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And I don't look very happy about that. I am willing to take a point of stress for that.
I think that seems fair.
And I'm going to just message Heinrich. Just
who's
a few
recovering
words.
In Barcelona, is kind of scattered
Who's
out of town.
recovering? Yeah. And I'm just going to say, Kasia, Berlin, Lucy, Dublin, and that's it. And Pavel, she wasn't sent by the Greeks. She is Lilith, a vampire. Maybe it's Edom. That seemed to be what she was implying. But we don't, we have a very big reason to believe that Edom has been subverted in some way by perhaps this other group of vampires. So who knows where she falls on that thing, but she's not Greek. She's the antagonist of the Greek.
Yeah, this is just a hanging thread that I wanted to pull on, not related to this conspiracy, but elsewhere. So let's imagine the four of you. There is a bit where you have to kind of talk with one another, as reluctant as Henry might be to sit down at the table and break bread, and discuss how you want to approach work here in Istanbul, especially on a budget.
I might be able to get us some cash. Maybe look into the disappearances as well. Did a bit of business back here in the day. I'm streetwise to Istanbul. I could follow that lead up, but we got what? We got the docks where the boat was going to go before I took it out.
So are all of us out of cash or only Jimmy's? I didn't get this part.
Oh, everyone's out of cash.
Okay.
You could pull the St. Francis treatment and rely on charity. Being a religious man, that one could always work.
That always is a Greek Orthodox begging in a Muslim country. That's
no, Turkish Orthodox. I did some research.
Interesting. That's
there are
right.
4 churches.
Yeah.
Turkish Orthodox. Quite rare, but they do exist.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my character does look a bit like Steve Jobs in a churches, he does a bit.
Fair enough.
So down at the docks, I think Jimmy wants to go down at the docks. He's got lots of experience around docks.
I'm wondering if that, because the docks is where they are, right? That's where they were going to go. The location.
I'd expect a boat to go to the docks. Yes.
Yes.
If we went anywhere else, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, but they've got a specific location, is what I'm saying, Pete. Which is probably where they were expecting to take that lot that I found in the all that cargo that I found down there, and that they've lost. So I don't know if it'll be a dead end, because they'll know by now that it's not coming.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
So let's quickly, as a group, then go through what we've got. We've got Doria Kia. I may not have pronounced that right, but I know who I'm talking about. We could go and visit her. Possibly some human interaction skills required with that one. There's St. Mary of the Mongols. That's just a great name for a church. It's top of my list. That could do with some investigation, and the docks. Personally, I don't like breaking down to just a single person doing a task. Henry tried it last time, and we know where she ended up with that. So there we go. We've got a few more. Charity organisation as well.
I reckon, Peter. I mean, I think we did a lot last time, but I got to admit it was a bit more helter-skelter than I would have liked. Henry, you seem to have a stick up your ass. Do you want to try and shit it out and get a plan on the table?
I'd like to spend some time with these photographs that Carl has kindly provided, and apply occult and/or culture to try to understand the significance of the, because just so I get this right, there was the appearance of a translucent cylinder pillar. What I thought I remember was that inside it we could see some Greek letters and symbols.
Yeah, the symbols that he's got the photos of. Yeah.
What I wasn't certain was whether those cylinders were in fact actual translucent plastic, or whether the symbols related, were creating some kind of field effect.
Was translucent plastic, like clearly an artificially created thing.
Container. So I guess then I'd like to make a spend against occult to find out anything you can tell me. And if a second spend from occult was necessary, I would happily spend it.
So I think, given what you found out before, is that these occult letters relate to something called katabasis. And the katabasis stories, the katabasis rituals, these are all the stories when heroes descend into the underworld to gather information, to speak to the dead, to call forth. So we've got Orpheus, that, and his lyre, and he goes down in. You've got Odysseus, Aeneas, Hercules, all of these figures in Greek mythology that goes down. What this is, and seems to be part of like the Orphic mysteries, and seem to be in the text of it seems to indicate that these are to extend the span of the opening to the underworld. And that sort of fits with what you were told by Montserrat, that these posts, powered by something tied to the original seal, which you think is the bloodline of these people that they had there. You didn't have a chance to really examine it. You wouldn't be surprised if perhaps there was some mechanism of these cylinders actually fitting into those, holding chambers to like use their blood in some way. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Sorry. So what I'm curious about really is, if these things are necessary to open a path or to keep a path to the underworld open, then the fact that they're currently in the possession of Carl's friends, I can't remember how many of them there were.
There were 6 there.
So my question is, do I think that they remain active? And if
no,
could they be replaced?
So they're not active because they're not connected up with the blood.
Okay.
That's been separated. But your impression is that what you've managed to do is cut back on whatever the geographic expanse and extent of these
Right.
were. And given Vallejo's things, it looks like he was going to stop in Morocco, Libya, Cairo, and essentially extend the reach of this across the Mediterranean to North Africa.
Fine. Okay. So this, they could still open, but if they do open the Underworld, the hope
They have
would
to
be they would-
rely on whatever else they've already set up in
Yeah.
Europe to extend this.
Okay. Okay. So I suppose my advice to Carl would be to contact his friends and tell them to blow these up. Never did I think that we'd find Henry was suggesting that we blow something up, but I think that's the thing to do, because I do not want those to fall into anybody else's hands.
Carl, do you?
Yeah, I think that before Carl does it, after like receiving some explanation, he just looks and, I mean, are you sure we can't use them somehow to, I don't know. Some time ago, I didn't believe it's possible to send one of us to the Underworld to get some information. I don't know. It's weird.
I mean, I'd rather have them off the table, I'll be honest with you.
Sure. Yeah. I'll get it done.
But the other thing I'm interested in is the Catabasis Society.
Oh, you mean the Kelowna?
Kelowna, not sorry. Yeah. Beg your
Okay.
pardon. I'm fascinated by the idea that if this is an Orphic society like the Paris one, they have a symbol that looks like a cuddly turtle, a charming, cute, cuddly turtle logo. That seems odd to me.
There is a tie. You have a cult. The Lyre of Orpheus is made from a turtle shell.
Oh, okay. Well, I still think they're worthy of investigation, and I it's the logo that's fascinating me at the moment. Why you would have such a child-friendly logo, and I cannot help remembering that the laughter of children was a defense, and I also seem to remember that Montserrat told us that not all Orphic supporters were on side with this plan, or did I just dream that?
Nope, you get that as an indication, yeah.
So I wonder whether the Kelowna Society might be a potential on our side, is what I'm curious about. So if you wanted a plan, it would be to infiltrate or discover more about the Kelowna Society.
Should I go get us some guns and weapons and stuff, guys? Or is 6 provided that as well, Henry, along with the tea?
I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how well equipped this is in terms of hardware.
Probably some pistols, but that would be about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel awfully underarmed.
Tell you what, go see if I can find us something. Turkey's a pretty good place for getting hold of any kind of stuff.
All right, let's do this. Let's take 10. Take our break here. When we come back, it feels like we've got some people doing some stuff on the ground, not like a big op, but some investigation, hitting the streets, that kind of thing, to get a little more sense of what's going on, observing the docks or checking out the society or trying to find this archaeologist or getting guns.
I will say that, like, we could probably leave the docks. It sounds like Peter and Carl are going for the archaeologist, right? Is that correct? Yeah, and Alan wants to do the Kelowna Society, and I'm going to hit the streets and get guns and, maybe like word of mouth disappearances kind of stuff, like 2 birds, 1 stone sort of thing.
Perfect. Let's take 10. So we're back. So Jimmy, tell me what you are doing.
Well, Jimmy's cover was weak, and we've lost a lot of our assets on the ground. We're limited to just a few handguns and some cash in our pockets. It's not going to go very far. Jimmy's going to hit up the old locations and such, and try and find, he's going to get a shopping list from the rest of them, and he's going to set up some sort of deal, and I'm wondering, is that a streetwise spend or a roll of some kind?
Yeah, I think you can do a streetwise spend to boost your network, because this is a network roll.
Okay, sure. So we'll that gives me a 3 there. Lowell, could you do the honors again and roll better this time, please? I will roll with all 3.
Absolutely. There was hesitation there. Are you sure you want me to roll?
You can't roll badly twice, right?
That's right. Apparently I can't. So that's an 8 plus your bonus. So
11.
11. So what is it you want? Do you want guns? Do you want technical equipment? Do you want explosives? Or do you want cash?
Cash is
Okay.
very useful, but limits us to what we can. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking out loud.
Oh,
Cash
please,
is very
yeah.
useful, but limits us to what we can buy. Explosives is a firm favorite, but I am with Henry on not falling back on them all the time. Guns is probably better than just having pistols or explosives. Technical equipment, that would be Peter's thing. Peter seems to be asking for explosives. If I can only get one of them.
I'm going to let you get one of them, because it's a pretty big ask here. And then I'm going to give you some additional information.
Okay. Alan, what would you like out of those? Cash, explosives, technical equipment, or guns? Better guns.
I'd like, to be honest, I'd like some technical equipment. I'm not sure we're particularly well equipped to use it, but I would like to, go back to beginning to scatter some bugs around, so we can begin to collect some data rather than going in blind all the time.
GCHQ guy is far more hands-on than the MI6 cookie. God.
Fine with anything you pick. It will
You're fine
just,
with anything.
we'll just use it on our next action. So if you pick guns, we will kick down the door and start asking questions. If you pick technicals, we'll plant bugs. Pick whatever you like.
That's a good point, Carl. I'm going to go with guns.
Okay. So essentially, hard to carry in big stuff, but so you'll be able to get the extra brace pistols. You'll be able to get the submachine guns. You'll be able to get the sniper rifle for Peter, and the holsters and ammo and all of that kind of stuff that you could use.
Since we're going with guns,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is it possible to throw in like flares and things, like military kind of gear, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, they can get you. We can do smoke grenades. We can get you flares. This is all in there. We can do that. Flashbangs. They probably work. Oh, Turkish supplemental military. There's a good chance.
Yeah. I
Only
imagine
one way to be sure.
Yeah, I imagine this is taking place in some down the alleyways of some bazaar into a warehouse with guns and stuff piled on the walls.
This is your friend Selim, or Salim, who's a dealer who you knew from your days here, and he's like, yeah. We can. Do you want the carbines too?
You know what? Can't hurt, can it?
Absolutely. I throw a couple of those, and I've got some old M16s and AKs.
Oh, you got a shotgun?
Oh, of course, shotguns.
Yeah.
Shotguns are easy.
Yeah, you got any phosphorus rounds?
Phosphorus rounds. That's a special call. what I will with phosphorus rounds, I'll let you make a preparedness roll for that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I imagine
Yeah,
that he says,
go
yeah,
through the,
he gives it to me. Who
there's
knows
some
if they
stuff.
work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says, and I'm doing you this as a favor because you are hot and toasty right now.
Yeah. Well, you know how work is, don't you? You are doing it me as a favor, Salim. I appreciate that.
I
But,
am, but I just want to tell you that you should be aware, Istanbul police, the Turkish gendarmes, 2 different groups, plus, the Turkish secret police?
not personally. Not yet,
Good.
anyways.
Good. I know there are a couple of radio cars of them out. Somebody has wired in some serious money.
Well, I appreciate the fact that you're doing me this trade, despite the fact that I can't bring you serious money today, Salim. I'll pay it off to you later. You know I'm good for it. Funny thing is that we're actually here. It's going to be a bit weird, right? Disappearances. You heard much about that?
People disappear here all the time.
True, but more than usual recently, from what I understand.
No, people have learned not to cross our president.
Yeah,
That lowers the rate of disappearances.
very true. Very true. I mean, you've come through for me, Salim. No returns. I know that.
Absolutely. You have done well by me in the past, so we'll see. I consider this a calculated risk on my part.
I appreciate it, mate. Appreciate it. Hey, you still got that shisha?
Of course.
Come on, it's been ages since I had one.
Absolutely. Gets his water pipe out, goes and gets the nice box of the honey-soaked tobacco, has the little coals, puts that down there, gets little glasses of it's mostly sugar, but it's some partially tea, and sits that down. Maybe a little ishta. Do you want a little of the milk tea?
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
And as he's getting all that, I'm like, so you weren't tempted by, is it like a bounty on my head, or is it just money going into the usual pockets?
See, that's the thing, is they put it in the hands of people that can do this. There's not a bounty out on you. It's people who do this for a living are looking for you.
Oh, well, luckily I do too, Salim. We'll have a shisha, and I will drive, back with a boot full of
A boot full of things.
Yeah,
Hoping you don't get stopped. Okay. Let's come to Peter. Were you and Carl doing something together? Or what do you want to do?
Yeah, we're gonna look into this woman. You said her background was academic?
Yeah, she's actually an archaeology professor.
Very well. That's a nice public place to sort of meet her. So let's toot and scoot to Istanbul University or wherever she works. I take it, that's reasonably common information.
Yeah, and I think there'll be the thing where you're kind of making arrangements. Carl, you're driving, where you make that call, and you'll end up talking to the department secretary, and they will say, Professor Kea hasn't been in several days. We've left messages for her, but we don't know if she went abroad on a trip and didn't inform us or whatnot. But and it's mid semester, so it's a little bit of a problem.
I take it she didn't say to anybody it was a very mysterious disappearance.
And the secretary is very unusual.
Very unusual. So she was a very reliable person.
She's a young woman. but as reliable, and she took her job seriously. She didn't have tenure, so she wouldn't want to make a stink.
Okay, well, I will thank the woman, and at that stage, I will use flip to the character sheet. I would like to digital intrusion to try and hack their HR system and get some details about the said professor.
Absolutely. This is light enough that I think if basically what you're looking for is an address,
Yeah,
I don't even think that's a spend.
I mean, I could look her up in the phone book, but let's make it a bit more spy.
Yeah. No, I think you will get an address, an apartment building that she's at, and be able to get that and phone number and all of that kind of stuff pretty easily.
Okay, I think Carl as my driver is a good look for a guy in priestly robes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we look a good pair, Carl. Please, no jokes on that. So yeah, let's go around this woman's house, and I think we'll park up and we'll ring as we're sort of going up the stairs, just in case she does a bit of a flight. I'm a bit worried about that, Carl. So yeah, we'll phone her as we're going up the stairs.
Sure.
And essentially, this is clearly like the landline number that you'll get, and woman picks up the phone and she says, "Hello."
And I will say, hello, I am Selçuk Erenrol from the Turkish Orthodox Church. I was reading some archaeological accounts by Doria, and I've contacted the university, and that they said she'd gone missing. So I've contacted her. Is this Doria speaking?
No, my name is Dr. Tenkin. I actually came by because I hadn't heard from her in a few days to check and see if she was sick. But she's not here. And then she kind of trails off a bit.
Well, we're very close nearby, actually, to her apartment. Could we meet you there?
Is it an academic question that you have? Maybe I can help.
Yes, it was about we'd spoken previously, or we'd corresponded by email previously about some of her recent work. I believe it was she'd been looking into some sort of Greco sort of findings here in Turkey.
Well, yes, she did dabbled. I'm well, stop by and I'll see what I can help you with. It is my field as well.
Excellent. And your current location?
I'm at her apartment right now. Do you have the address?
Yeah, as I said, we weren't far away, so give us 5-10 minutes. And
certainly just ring the buzzer downstairs, and the Bawab will let you in.
Excellent. So I'll turn to Carl and say, let's see if she does a runner in the next 5-10 minutes, Carl. If not, we'll ring the bell and go up and see her. Quick search through professors at the university, just on the general internet. Does this woman actually come up?
Yes, Dr. Hannah Tekin. She's at Koç University here in Istanbul. And she's actually a specialist on the sort of the Orphic tablets and that kind of thing. You have the sense that that's her connection with Kaya, is that they've worked together on some of the projects.
There's a current picture of this woman, is there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fine, I'll show it to Carl and say, if it's not her, let's go to town on her. Yeah. You don't have to look for permission. Just, if it's not her, clearly we'll have to do something. But apart from that, let's play it cool, Carl.
Sure.
And I think, wait 10 minutes, ring the buzzer.
Yeah, Carl winks to Peter. Luckily, we don't have Jimmy with us. I hope nothing will explode.
True.
Well, you have Peter
We'll
with
show
you,
them
so
his
he
cool
can always
cats.
poison her when you're all done.
Of course, there's plenty of ways.
So yeah, you ring the buzzer, and the old man that they have at the door, lets you in. Asks where you're going. Does the thing where he takes you over to the elevator, like I'm the only one who can operate the elevator. It does the thing in that way that he is expecting that you'll drop some bakshish in his hand when all of this is said and done. And you go up to the fourth floor and knock on the door, and the two of you will be met by a woman, older, with her hijab on, and matches that picture from the thing, and she'll say, "Father."
Oh, my child. Yes. Pleased to meet you. And this is my driver.
Oh.
And I will introduce Rugov. And I'll say, I picked this gentleman up in my travels. He's an ex-policeman, a very reliable man, and a great driver.
Oh, and that actually, when you say the ex-policeman, she will say, "Oh, excellent. Why don't you two come in?"
Thank you, my child.
And she has you come in, and she says, I can't really offer you anything. It's not my apartment.
It's not your apartment.
So I hope that's all right.
Perfectly fine.
But she says, what is it that I can do for you?
Well, clearly we inquired at the university, and we're slightly perturbed that Daria has gone missing. I take it you are aware of this.
Yes, I actually called the police, but and she looks. She says she's a young westernized woman, and the police didn't take this particularly seriously. Her jacket, her phone, purse, all of those things are gone. So it looks like she left, but she clearly hasn't been back here in a couple of days.
Would you say that she's? I mean, hopefully you have been here before. You seem to be her friend. And does it look as if she's taken much with her on a trip, maybe an archaeological dig somewhere, or would that be very unusual? Do you think that she's disappeared?
And I think this gives Carl, you the opportunity to kind of look around as she's kind of looking to judge, and as Peter is keeping her occupied. And I think you have noticed, right, as one of your investigators, Carl, right?
Yeah, everyone has noticed.
Yeah, okay, that's right. I think that you kind of look around, and this place looks pretty clean for a place that hasn't been lived in a few days. Like, there's no dust. Things have been swept. There's no sort of trace of that on the floor. You have enough tradecraft to say somebody came in here and has done essentially tossed the place and then done evidence dispersal to hide the fact that the place has been tossed.
So probably nothing we can. So probably there's nothing for us to find here to find.
Yeah, no, I mean, if well, there's probably stuff here to potentially of her stuff to find, but you can tell that somebody has gone through some trouble to hide whatever happened here. Like, one of the telltale signs is if there's a glass out where you would normally expect to see fingerprints, those have been wiped. Like there are no fingerprints on things that ought to have fingerprints on them. And do you want to make a notice spend?
Yes.
Okay. And she's looking around, like trying to judge and see. Her computer is here, for example, and she's kind of looking around, and you will find Carl behind one of these bookshelves. A Post-it note has fallen back, and you kind of pick that up. It clearly was like onto a board and just came off, and it says G. St. Mary's after Compline. And Compline is one of the hours of the Mass, or the Catholic. Here, I'm a WASP Protestant, so it's a church time thing.
Okay.
Church time.
Cool.
It's a church time thing.
Cool. So name the St. Mary Church that we know of.
Yeah.
And then some time of the day.
Yeah, and the letter G.
And the letter G. Yes. I think I'm going to leave Padre over here for a moment, and I'm going to actually go back to the elevator man.
Okay.
I will continue to talk with the woman in the hijab, the other doctor.
Dr. Tekin?
I've got quite a bit of, I've got culture and history. So can I talk a good sort of archaeological thing?
Yeah. Let's have you make a spend from that.
Certainly. I want to come over as I said, that I have done some work with her previously, and I clearly know a bit about what I'm talking about. And I'd like to try and press her for sort of scientifically what Daria was into, her latest projects, and can she share any sort of archaeological information, academic information?
And what she will say with that is, well, she was concerned that we were having a repeat of what happened with the Saluki neighborhood a few years ago. There's a restoration project going on at the Sadikan Monastery. And it's a Greek Orthodox, not Turkish Orthodox, but Greek Orthodox. And
I'll make the sign of the cross when she says that.
Yeah, so the government and such, they haven't been the proper assays or surveys or things like that. There's no plan published on what the restoration is being done, and she's very concerned about that. And I know that she met a few days ago with representatives from the Greek monastery of St. Mary's, and they went out to the site and came back and essentially said that it was all fine, that it was all church approved and everything. And I don't think Daria was entirely satisfied with that.
I will clearly reassure this Muslim woman that the church, the Turkish Orthodox Church, was not consulted on this and is clearly not happy that this, and we will be taking this up with our Greek Orthodox, I don't want to say friends, cousins.
Brethren?
Cousins. And I will try and get to the bottom of this,
right,
for both you and the doctor.
And she seems a little surprised. That's clearly in her experience, that's not the strongest of connections between those churches, but she's like, all right. Certainly.
I take it this this monastery she's referring to is archaeological.
The Sadikan is the they say it's
An old
unsafe.
building.
It's an older building, much like the monastery of St. Mary's. At least that is, when it was restored, there was an oversight of that. But yeah, she was not reassured.
I will reassure her that clearly back in ancient times, the Greek Orthodox and the Turkish Orthodox was, one church, and they split off. So, clearly the Turkish Orthodox Church has an interest in this as well, and therefore I'm interested.
She looks. This is her field is ancient Greek and Orphic and things like that, and she kind of generally knows. She's like, okay.
Certainly, and I'll take a contact detail and say, I take it you are very concerned about your colleague. So my friend here, will make some inquiries on the back channels with the Turkish police and try and get the wheels of the criminal, the judiciary system. Try and find your friend.
She says, well, certainly I do want her to be found, but again, just be cautious with the police. You know what I mean?
Yes, my friend is very discreet, and of course, as a member of the church, I also have to be discreet. So we clearly will not implicate you at all, and we'll keep it very low.
She gives you her business card. She gives you two of them, one for you, one for your associate. And she says, well, all right. And she clearly is not going to let you just stay here. She kind of like goes to have you step out in the hall, and she'll lock the not great lock on this door, and then looks around, realizes that your friend has gone to talk to somebody else, and she'll depart then.
Excellent.
We'll come back to you two in a moment, but I want to check in with Henry.
Yeah, I mean, Henry would like to move on to finding out all she can about the Kelowna Society. And I'm thinking here, high society, getting a feel for the social pages. I'd like to know what they appear to be a charity, so I'm curious what their area of charitable works are.
So one of the things you'll definitely get is that, and you know how charitable organizations work, at least in the States. There's a great deal of money to be made by being a high-level staffer in a charitable organization, especially when there's a lot of money coming in. And there certainly is, from Eurydice and so on. And it feels to you like they give gifts to generally like high profile, high publicity, essentially the equivalent of the Make-A-Wish Foundation or things that have real popular support, clean up the Mediterranean, those kinds of things. And really clearly do angle in to have contacts and friends in high society. Like they cultivate a strong network of highly placed people. And I think you'll be surprised at how many of the sort of the highly placed people are then fairly active with the organization. In a way that in some cases strikes you as a little suspicious.
That's interesting.
They feel like a recruitment arm.
Yeah, that's what I'm feeling. We will support all these very popular, high-profile charities. We will get to know all the other people supporting all those high-profile charities, and these are people that we would want to have join the society. I cannot get the cuddly turtle out of my head.
There is one anomaly, though, that you will notice. One of the places that they do give money is definitely not a visible or publicity. And in fact, they don't talk much about that. It's not in a lot of their things, but they do have people that provide food services and healthcare to the section of town area of Istanbul called, and I'm not saying the Turkish Rite, but it's the Bölgesi, which is the section of town where the Kurds and the Roma and a lot of people who are on the margins of Istanbul society, day laborers, people who are working, informal Black economy jobs and that kind of thing. They have a presence there, but that is not particularly well advertised.
Okay. I cannot get the cuddly turtle out of my head. I am looking for some connection to children, or is that just is this kind of slick, high profile? I expect a corporate image rather than the cuddly image, or have I got a bee in my bonnet?
Well, I actually think what you will see is that it's when you look close and when you look at the stuff and the way the turtle shells are arranged and things like that, it almost bothers you because it's a little bit sneering, because it is, when you line things up, it has the little sigils and marks of the Orphic ceremonies.
Okay. So
it is like a hand signal, but it's also a kind of an in joke in some ways.
Right. So it's more cover than it is significant for the cuddly turtle connection.
Yeah. The name of the sort of director, Glandhander man is Ayturk Kurtoglu.
You will put that.
It is in
somewhere.
the chat.
Okay. There he is. Thank you. Well, that's very helpful. I think that friend Ayturk Kurtoglu is worth some follow-up, possibly later.
Okay. Let's swing back to Jimmy. You've delivered the weapons. They are tucked away safely. What's job 2 on Jimmy's list?
Where is this St. Mary of Mogul monastery that Peter's talking about?
It is in Istanbul. It is kind of up on a raised section of town. It's like the only Greek Orthodox monastery actually still within the boundaries of Istanbul, and notable in that it's the only one that never got turned into a mosque. And it's just outside the Bölgesi neighborhood.
Okay. Where the Kelowna Society operates within. Where are these docks that Vallejo mentioned? Is it like a commercial dock, or is it like a private one berth, or?
It probably would have been a sort of high-end private berth. There's a lot of course, industrial port areas there in Istanbul. So you go to the area that's closer to sort of the Black Sea tourist section, they would have berthed there. Do you want to hit the ground and check that area?
Well, I think it's less. I think it's hitting the ground.
Okay.
What I would like to do is every dock has a every dock's got some black market attached to it, right? Everything goes through the harbour master, the officials and so forth. What I want to do is to spend a point of Streetwise to speak to someone there who can tell me, you know, this berth, this dock, like everything that I know about this, like what was this side of the arrangement, you know, like who owned it, who was gonna, what were the details, right? As much as I can get from there.
And I think you'll head down there, you know, go through channels, and eventually somebody kind of goes, oh, and you see him point over to where the berth is, and you can see the burnt out rubble of a warehouse. And he says, yeah, that caught fire the night before last.
Ah, shit. Did anyone know what happened?
No, it was a private ownership, and the kind of Spanish investment firm.
Ah, right. Yeah.
It happened way early in the morning. Luckily, it didn't spread to any of the other places, but they think it's arson. Some people saw people. Here's the thing: is it certainly wasn't on our watch, but some people were saying that they thought that might have been somebody looted the place and then burned it to the ground because they saw people, you know, leaving with trucks.
People leaving with trucks, you say? Oh, wow. I don't suppose anyone got a license plate or anything.
Around here, no. You learn to look the other way.
But a bit of backshi makes you learn back the other way, doesn't it?
All I know is that they headed out of the city.
Fair enough. Out of the city, not towards the Bulgassi district by any chance, was it?
Oh no, that's in city.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So they headed out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I think I've got all that I can get out of that. I think that I expect them to sanitize
right.
the docks, to be honest.
And I think you know, if you do a quick walk around, yeah, that's somebody did this with expert skill, made to be contained so it wouldn't spread and, you know, draw too much attention. It looks like maybe somebody burned it down. It has a look for insurance or whatnot. And you guess the timetable is probably 4 or 5 hours after the boat went down. Somebody called here and wiped the slate.
Yeah, we figured they'd do something like that. Doesn't feel like a lead that would be too much effort to track down when we've got others in front of us.
Yeah, and definitely you can confirm it back to Eurydice to confirm the conclusions you've already drawn.
Yeah, I will. You know, at the end of all of this, I am at Henry's disposal if she wants to go and check out the society. Otherwise, my next movement would be to try and find out more about these disappearances that we haven't really looked at properly yet.
Let's come back to Carl and Peter.
Yeah, we are probably in the elevator, going down, and Carl makes this like a really weird move where he like moves in and like press the stop like between the floors.
Mm-hmm.
He looks at politely at the old man and asks, I wonder, and he like takes out like some cash to like pay him up. I wonder, when was the last time Miss Kaya came back or left her apartment? You must have seen her.
That'd be a good question.
He, you know, he'll take the money, and he says 4 days ago she took her stuff and headed out.
Took her stuff? Did she had like a luggage, like she was about to fly somewhere? Her
No,
usual
no. A jacket, purse, lady things.
Since then, has anybody visited her apartment apart from the good woman up there now?
Yes.
Does he react when I say this woman's name? Does he know that she's up there?
Yeah, he knew that she was up there.
Okay.
But you say that anybody else, and it kind of gets that sour look on his face, and with a simple bullshit detector, no spend. He goes, nope, no one else has been here, and he's very clearly lying.
Yeah, I take like an, I don't know, equivalent of $20-$30, and I show it that I'm going to give it to him when he decides to speak up.
All right. He takes some of your last $20 or $30, and he says that there were a couple of people that came here the day before last. They said they were friends, but they gave me some money.
A general
well.
description of them?
He gives you a very, very generic description of two
Okay.
guys in suits. He says they were there a while.
They left by a
Seems
car.
reasonably genuine.
They probably came by or left by a car. Did you happen to take a look at the plates of the car?
No, that was a funny thing. I would have expected, you come to stop by, you park outside, or you call for somebody to park your car and stuff. But they walked up like they either walked here or they parked their car out of sight.
Did they have an Istanbul accent, or would you say more of a Turkish provincial accent, or even foreigners?
Oh no, they
Like
were
us.
they were locals.
Okay. I will thank him.
And he'll push the button for the elevator to start again and
Yep.
go down, and he'll throw that open. And
Is there by any chance? I doubt it. But is there a camera in this elevator?
no.
Cool. Because no leads here.
Well,
So-
actually, now that I actually think about it, let me roll back here a second. Do you want to make a surveillance spend, Carl?
I'm like looking for anything, but I just don't have any ideas.
Yeah, make a surveillance spend. I think as the elevator gets down, there's that moment when it's kind of at that bottom floor. That it's just that like little bit of the light from a pinhole. And you're kind of looking, and you'll realize that there is a like shitty webcam attached to the outside of the elevator. Probably the Bawab here, the doorman, keeps it to record in case he needed to like say, maybe your wife would want to see that you came home with that young woman, kind of thing.
So there is a camera in the elevator. Just
Yeah.
not very obvious. Yeah, I like really make like an obvious notice that I found it, and I say, well, I'm willing not to say anyone about this if you show me a short clip of those men who visited Miss Kaya.
And you see he sits down and he pulls out this iPhone, and he's not great with it, but you see him like go through, and you'll see the video of her leaving.
Mhm.
4 days ago, very much has that look of someone who is purposefully heading out to go do something. And then you'll get the video of these two fairly nondescript Turkish guys who, the videos of them coming in. You can see them talking to the Bawab. They ride up in the elevator. The timestamp tells you they're up there for about an hour and a half before they come back down. And while you don't recognize them, you can get a good enough image from here of their faces that if you saw them again, you would recognize them.
Excellent. It's
Yeah,
really good
can
work.
we? Yeah, I would like to make a photo of the of this with my telephone.
Essentially, I'll send it to your phone.
Yes. Yeah, I received a Bluetooth transmission from him. Very well. You're a good man.
Cool.
And yeah, maybe I can ask some of my contacts to identify those guys, and we'll see.
Okay. Anything else, Peter, before I swing back to Henry?
No, I think leads we've got from here. Clearly, we know a bit more about St. Mary of the Mongols, so I think that's a definite. Saluki neighborhood, Sadakan Monastery. That's worthy of some research. But yeah, I think we've got some solid leads. So let's hand over another team, and we'll do some planning.
Henry, you've kind of run down the organizational structure of this charitable organization. You've got names, you've got details. And keep in mind, again, you've gotten information from the other players that's getting fed back and forth, so you can act on that. What is your next step?
I think it's time to engineer an invitation. I mean, if there's an Orphic Society, Jimmy and or Henry need to get an invitation.
I mean, do you want me to do it, Henry, or it didn't go that well last time I went to one of these things?
Yes.
But then again, last time you went to one of these things,
it didn't go very well either.
No, we did get it in the end, I suppose.
So I'm just wondering if we can skim together sufficient funds to make it look like Alison is rich enough to be an interesting guest.
How about the other way around? How about you're some sort of Greek mystical scholar type?
Well, yeah, I thought about resurrecting Rhea, Andriaku, but I'm afraid that word may have got around about her.
I'm not sure about that, because we did kill the main contact in the conspiracy there.
Yeah. I just had this horrible feeling. I've made a note of on her cover.
If I may suggest, because you did have a question about money and being able to have enough to spend, there is a talent for that.
Oh, is there?
I've looked at that many times, and I've wondered how it might possibly come up, because you've been very generous in how we resourced we are.
Under preparedness, there is the reptile fund.
There's the reptile fund. I have some talents to dispose of, so it looks like 6 did leave a reptile fund.
Yeah. After the others have left, you go back to the safe at the back of the place and the code number, and you open it up, and there's credit cards, non-sequential cash, Krugerrands, all tucked away there for you.
How delightful. I will seek to secure some of that where I know where it is.
Okay.
But it does look like we have the resources to appear well heeled. In which case, it would be a shame, wouldn't it, not to go with Rhea again.
This would be essentially a cover role to build up your legend. You've researched enough about the way these Orphic things work that you could probably build that up. You probably will want to do a disguise role as well. given that people know your faces.
Mhm. I am wondering, because there is also, I mean, I maybe I'm squandering talents here.
We
But
are in
there-
the last 3 sessions.
Yeah, exactly. Because there is the makeup artist. Mark to have your disguise attempt apply to your entire team, allowing you to coordinate appearance and identities.
Absolutely.
That means if it goes badly, it applies to everybody. So I think that there might be some mileage in trying to set up a cover. Hang on, let me just copy that across. And then I'm all out of spare talents, so there's nothing left in the locker for that. It might be worth having that to play with.
If you want to make a high society spend to build yourself a pool for doing this, that seems reasonable as well.
Okay, then that I will do. That will give me 3 to play with. So let's spend.
If you're taking Jimmy along, Jimmy can also contribute points too.
I don't think I don't think I need Jimmy to do that. He's
Okay.
not got a lot of high society or anything else to play with on that end of the stick. So no, I'm just going to play makeup artist to have my disguise apply to both of us. So I'll spend all 3 of that high society to roll with Henry. That's an 11. I don't think I've rolled above 10 in some time.
That is excellent. You two, if people have been warned about you, which they probably have, you are unrecognizable to people that have been sent photos or basic information, things like that. You are unrecognizable. Now, do you want to make the cover roll to build that legend? What I'm going to say is a 7 to 9 will make it so it'll get you here for this particular agency and stand for that. But after that, probably for other like connections in the society not work, but a 10 plus will have it stand up for a while. You are muted.
I am going to spend 3 from operational. And again, cross my fingers. Oh, that gets better and better. That is 14.
Then there is the car that's sent to pick you up from the hotel that you two wait at.
Well, before we launch into that,
yeah.
I do want to know whether this disguise applies to the entire team. I want to give Carl and Paul the option to coattail this.
To what?
Well, to come in, you know, but the makeup artist I spent allows this cover to encompass all of us if we want it to.
Yes, but do you want us there?
I'm just conscious that the last time that I went to one of these do's, shit happened.
That's true.
You know, I'm hoping this is going to be a quiet dinner and a chance for conversation, but that would seem to me to be rash.
And you're going to the meeting with Kilona Society, yes?
Yeah.
If you want us there, I'll be there.
Paul, Peter?
Yes, clearly inviting people that can do violence can lead to violence. Always remember that.
That is the only bit that's worrying me.
It may be the default answer. Is it a wise choice?
You'll go off again. The last time somebody took Peter to an attractive, high-class dinner and party, he hid behind some curtains hoping to get a shot through with a crossbow.
But he didn't shoot anybody.
No, it actually didn't end in any violence. It should have done.
That's my only nervousness. I need to know that we're not just going to randomly start killing people.
Tell you what, I'll stay in. I'd say the van, but we haven't got enough money. I'll stay in the beat up.
Oh, we
car.
do now.
Oh, okay, fine. I will stay in the van and provide tactical and technical support.
Then you have a perfect local disguise. You know, you look like a local, cable installer I think is our default, right?
It is.
And Carl?
6G.
I don't know. If Henry wants me to come, I will come. If not, I will not. I don't know really. I'm up for anything.
I think that given the cover I've built, the idea of an escort and a bodyguard is not inconceivable. Assuming Jimmy is going to be the escort.
Of course, I think Jimmy looks good in a suit, and
But that you builded Jimmy's identity, but now he's the escort.
Yeah, well, that's the joy of the talent. You're all covered.
I love it. Yeah.
Okay. So the car is sent to pick up you, your escort for the evening, the handsome James Rook, and
Robert Walsh, I think, entrepreneur and well-known contributor to charities.
And you will be driven into downtown Istanbul, all glass and steel and high-end modern buildings and the nightlife and things like that. And you'll arrive at there's a nearby building that has multiple floors, and each floor has a different sort of high-end restaurant. And you'll arrive there and be taken up to a private room on one of the very, very, nouveau cuisine Turkish restaurants here. And Kurtoglu is there. He has maybe a secretary with him, and when you arrive, he greets you effusively. What is the name you're using?
I'm going to stick with Rhea Andriakou because I like the name, and I think though I use the same name in Paris, I think the cover is probably robust.
Miss Andriakou, may I call you Rhea?
I would insist on it.
Oh, thank you. And
Mr. Ayturk. Oh no, Mr. Kurtoglu.
Yeah, Ayturk. Just that's all.
And this is a friend of mine, Mr. Walsh.
You said he was coming. Your reputation precedes you, sir. You are a great charitable donor. We're very pleased to have you come and join us.
And I hope you don't mind. My father insists that I travel with personal protection, and I'll gesture to Vadik.
Yeah, and there is a moment when Ayturk is kind of hand on shoulder, kind of moving you in, thanking you. He's one of the very handsy kind of people. He says, "Is your guest an initiate as well?" I want to know how we should speak.
He can be trusted.
Excellent. Come in and sit. And massive table of appetizers is already set out there. But in that sort of nouveau cuisine, gastrochemical versions of frozen hummus and all of those things. This sort of there's going to be an 18-course meal, but it's like every course is like 2 minutes and a tiny bite. And he sits you down. Wine is brought to you. You're seated there, but a little ways away, Carl. But food is brought to you as well.
I think Carl is like a furniture in this room, standing under the wall. That's like bodyguard. Bodyguard don't sit and enjoy in the client's meal. So Carl's probably like standing by the door, pretending to be a piece of furniture in a suit, good looking.
There's a different little sampler of wine with each of the meals and so on, and it is extravagant. There is that moment when Ayturk says, and so what has brought you to Istanbul?
I think we go for gold here, don't we? I think that I say, have you heard of the Pale Agenda, Turk?
And he frowns. And his body language shifts from inviting and welcoming to not so inviting.
Because what I want to know is I think I could make an interpersonal spend here to know whether he means this, and then I can say exactly.
And you can read that whatever the Pale Agenda is, he is not on board with it.
And that, Turk, is why I'm here, because you need to know you are not alone.
This is a very dangerous conversation.
I appreciate that, Turk, but it is a conversation nonetheless must be had. If not now, then when?
I do not think that there is anything that we can do. I think we have to be ready for what is to come. There were others who stood against this, and they are no longer in the overworld.
I have read of the disappearances, but I still feel that I don't think that we can simply stand by, Turk.
It is too late.
No.
I mean, no one, everyone has committed themselves. There's there is no discussion to be had. We are either with it, or we are to be food.
I wonder whether we could flash back to first contact with Turk, and whether I think it would be difficult for me to do it given the conversation, but whether Jimmy or Carl may have just got that little, blood styrette that we've experimented with. I'm curious whether there are masters in the vicinity.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's happy to do that. I think Jimmy will even go one further and accidentally break his glass.
Absolutely.
Careful you don't bleed to death.
I don't think there's necessarily a role for this. I think that this is a simple gesture. There is that bit where you have to wait, where the blood is still bleeding and you're getting a little more and more nervous. But then the flow stops.
Oh, sorry about that. Where's the, just give me a few napkins. It'll be all right.
He gestures, and one of the staff, a brilliant silk napkin is brought over, and bandages and so on.
This silk napkin costs more money than we have in our back pockets at the moment. Yeah.
Than you have in your back pocket.
Yeah, keep the napkins.
And he seems like he's ready to talk. Let's take 5, and we'll have this conversation. So he says, the masters, they have, and he seems very hesitant, like he is clearly torn on this, but he says that there is, when this first when rumors of this first arose, I was not as enthusiastic. I certainly serve the masters, but this plan is, why can we not remain in the shadows?
And you are not alone in that view, Turk. If you do not feel that you can act, then perhaps you can help those of us who might.
How? You have no Philomena. None of you do.
We act for one who does.
And he kind of, but doesn't ask, like he clearly doesn't want to know the name.
Because he's not going to get it.
So what do you want?
Because the Philomena of which I speak is against the pale agenda, strongly and actively, a Turk, against the pale agenda. They have been excluded, their master has been excluded from much of the discussion of these matters. I have come to you because their master suggested that you, and perhaps some other people around this table, I don't know, might be prepared to help us with information.
I will tell you what I know, but I have also been excluded. I have been made a servant here in my own city.
Then anything you can tell us. And I think probably we finished. I don't know what your plans were, but it strikes me that this is a conversation to be had in a while when the meal has broken up.
Right. This is at the end of the meal. You're in a private room, so there is no window to be sniped through or anything of that sort.
Thermal imaging works perfectly fine. You don't need a window.
He says, here is what I know, the steps on this. There was to be some kind of delivery in some days' time that got scuttled. Something from Eurydice, but I don't know the details on that. Apparently, I don't know if they were your master's servants, but we were told and informed of a group of agents who struck at Eurydice in Barcelona. What they have been doing in Istanbul here, the monastery has been overseeing this. They have been taking people who will not be missed from the Bulgari. And they
using the charitable programs that the society runs.
Not using ours. We merely supplied information. The brothers are handling whatever is going on the ground. We have been cut out from the operational side of this. But I know that they have been taking people. Some of them they have been returning with the newly anointed to help in gathering others. They did not tell me that, but I found that out. But I do not think that what is going on is happening there at St. Mary's. It is somewhere else, but we have not been told where. But I think that may be the lead to what their next stage is, what the connection is, but I don't know. They have those that we have recruited through the Kelowna. They have brought some of them and anointed them. I have not been gifted, but others have. They mean to acclimate some of the shades because it takes time for them to become used to this world. That is what I know.
This where these people are going this, and I lean over, and I've just been letting Henry talk the whole time, just looking kind of like, you know, like off and sort of like aloof and not part of it. And then as he says all that, I just turn and I say, the people who are disappearing, they're the new one, the new fledglings.
The Roma and the Kurds, those who will not be missed.
Seems a bit strange for them to be blessed with a master.
They give the ones that have only a shadow to them. They have no divine might. Those stronger ones they gift to are the wealthy and the powerful.
Because we know that some wealthy people will be going missing, don't we? Yeah. Okay. I think it feels to me like the well is dry. So I'm very happy for him to speak into my ear or Jimmy's ear in terms of whether there's anything else we can get from them. The question I do have to ask is whether the entire society can be trusted, or whether you believe that there are people fully connected to the Pale agenda within the society.
I believe that there are some that are committed. I believe there are some that have indulged in the mysteries, that are true believers in this and in the Orphic rites. I mean, I believe, but I don't want to have everyone die.
Indeed, this is what the Philomena that we serve believes. Better to graze upon the flock.
Exactly. We have fed for generations. Why can we not? We do not need to grow fat. It will only bring us destruction.
The names of people in the society that you believe are fully committed, who are they?
And he will write down some names, and he will write down some names of highly placed people in Turkish society who have been gifted with vampires.
Aturk, the monastery, it's not the location.
That I do not believe it is.
Do you think it might hold the secret to the location?
That is the only thing I can imagine is the brothers there must know. Though a number of them possess masters. So step with caution.
Indeed.
I know for certain that and I need to actually get this is a term I wish to get correct. the Archimandrite.
Ah,
He definitely possesses one.
And is that the head of the church?
That is the
brothers?
head of a Greek Orthodox monastery.
yeah, it's kind of abbot bishop-ish, I think.
Ish.
Okay. Your service to the master we serve will not be forgotten, Turk. If this goes well, then perhaps you will receive the gift that you crave.
That is all I desire.
I will do everything I can, Aturk, to make sure that you get exactly what you deserve.
Thank you. He says, I've got this. And, get the check, the black American Express card, and signs off on that. Takes your hand, that kind of wet, clammy thing when he holds it, because he's been sitting here nervously throughout this whole conversation. So all that has kind of dried, and it's cold. And he shakes your hand, and he's like, oh, may the masters be with you.
With you, Turk, and with you.
And he will go to leave.
As I think will we. I think we'll cry quits on that one unless anybody's got an option. Paul, you're muted.
I'm going to run him down with a van.
No, he's our way into the conspiracy.
No, he's a dirty scumbag.
He's
I'll just put his name in my book,
Okay.
along with Jimmy.
tipping our hand would be more what I'd be bothered about, frankly.
Yeah.
Personally, I think he only needs to be flipped, and you're fucked.
No.
I'll remove him from the board now.
But
No,
that's the
you're
same
paying
thing,
way
Paul.
too much.
Peter, I have a plan. Peter. Don't do anything
he needs
rash,
to be
Peter.
gone soon. He needs to be gone soon.
I have a plan.
Jimmy looks at Carl and is just like, what's got into that lad? I thought has he been sat playing Call of Duty all day when he's been at GCHQ? Warps your mind. He's on his kill streak obsession.
So you have a highly placed member of the conspiracy here in Istanbul that you have flipped. They believe your cover. They believe your identity. You have a sense that if you call them up, they'll follow through.
Okay.
And I think
I'll settle for that at this point.
I think you have some leads. I think you have a direction. Yes, Jimmy. I
am wondering, the church, right? The church has vampires, has things like that, and I don't want to propose another crazy gambit kind of thing, right? But we are hot here in Istanbul, and it is all, it's a matter of time before things tip. So I think that we're running down either Daria or the church, and my suggestion is that the church, I kind of feel, is more of an infiltration in the sense of like a special, you know what I mean, like a special ops team, or like a break-in and a sort of like scout and an active infiltration rather than a sort of daytime one.
The two lines definitely converge in this way, is that these are the same church people that reassured her that there was nothing going on at this other monastery.
Oh yeah, no, I see where they link up in the thing. I just mean as in the sense of like those two guys, if we really, I don't think that would be that useful, because my theory is that Daria has been snatched because she's somehow obstructing whatever they're doing at the St. Mary's with the concerns and so forth.
She's just being nosy. Look,
yeah, exactly.
Let me put on the table what is in my mind at this point, because I don't want Aturk needs to go, but he could go usefully if we betray him to one of the names that we know is in the conspiracy properly, and use that as leverage to get on the inside. I simply leave you with that one.
They know us, and they know our.
I don't think you can pull off. You haven't got a vampire. Going deep in there, Henry.
I just want to say, in terms of reading practicalities of plans. So you find that plan impractical, but you were going to drive through a crowd in a soccer game with a lorry to grab their truck and throw it in the back of another truck. That's what I remember from the planning of the beginning of last session. Just
Yeah, because that does happen. And with vampires does not happen.
Now, what I was premising was that one could offer up the body of a betraying member of the conspiracy to the conspiracy proper in the hope of gaining access.
No, I get where you're going with it. I just think that any access on their terms is a bad idea in the situation.
The risk is big risk there. You know,
I have to say, and this will be the last time I'm going to go back to the last one. The risk is big. It's not a thing I thought from the man who was going to kill him 5 seconds ago.
Because I like to go in with lots of guns and shit like that. Just walking in saying, "Oh, I'm going to betray this bloke," but yeah, you know, I'm all right. Nah, that's not selling it for me.
I mean, so it feels as though we're all roads, you know, lead to Rome, lead to this church from everything we've got. The question is of how we approach it. I certainly think that there could be something to casing it out with the last bits of the daylight or whatever, or, you know, and I also feel it's the thing that we haven't really done beyond Alpha, probably because of our first disastrous experience of breaking into a location. But I wouldn't mind some of that kind of, you know, metagame wise, that kind of spy work, you know.
Let's drop some research on St. Mary's of the Mongols. While they were whittering on at this dinner,
sure,
I could have been tapping the keys.
Absolutely. It is, as I mentioned before, the only Greek Orthodox monastery still in Istanbul. It has like an active brethren there, and it is also like it's touristy. Like people go there and take tours and that kind of thing. Spend a point of research for me.
Yeah, certainly. Let me get to the character sheet.
Sure.
Yeah, done.
The thing like there are lots of rumors about the fact that it maybe has a tunnel to the Hagia Sophia, these kind of weird stuff that you can easily dismiss. But I think definitely as you're looking through various of the art and architectures and things like that, there's enough places in the frescoes and other artistic things there that have just a hint of like the Orphic designs worked into them.
Okay, so it's good to say it's linked in some way.
Yeah, and in terms of the connection that you already have with Daria, they are definitely the ones, you know, who are overseeing the or giving approval to the restoration of that other monastery site, so, the Sadakhan. Yeah.
Okay, so that order that's based, or some of the guys that are based in St. Mary's are part of the order that had something to do with Sadakhan saying it's all right, you know, that they're wearing hard hats and safety boots, that they're not gypsies.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So,
and I think you will know that in terms of dangerous sites, that there is a cistern under the monastery of St. Mary's.
Okay.
When you say a cistern,
I'm
like
thinking a big load of water in a stone trough, but probably not.
Yeah. A big water container with probably platforms and pillars and things like that.
Now, when the GM says that there's a underground location beneath the church that's occupied by vampires, I feel like fate tells us something there.
We've got two locations. You've got the monastery at St. Mary's, and you've got Sadakhan. Sadakhan is outside the city, essentially on the Golden Horn.
You know, for purposes of the minutes, I do want to be just clear.
Sure.
Daria was talking to the order at St. Mary's.
She was upset about what was happening at Sadakhan.
Right. But it was
and
the
she,
brothers at St. Mary's that reassured her that
yes,
all was well.
they were like, we'll go and we'll look at what's going on there and we'll come back. And they came back and said everything's fine.
Okay. And Jimmy, you think this is going to end in some kind of bust up? Yeah.
No, my feeling is that and it, like an actual infiltration, like a robbery type style deal of St. Mary's. Given that if we're going to go there, or even of the other place, given that we know that there are vampires, we're quite well known to the actual active players in the conspiracy. It doesn't feel like a place that we can just walk. We can do our usual we can get much out of our usual softly infiltrate kind of approach.
Well, they did say they were open to, you can actually just walk around there reasonably in daylight, in plain clothes.
Yeah. I mean, certainly, but my feeling is that it might be better to go the route of active. Like you can go when you go during the day, there are people around, there are lots of witnesses, and there are that kind of thing. When you go at night, you've got you're out of place when you're found, right? But you have a more of a kind of an active window to actually be doing what you want to be, rather than having to be like, oh hi, I'm just the thing. Oh, can I get this excuse to do this thing, kind of stuff.
Can I suggest we're getting into stars and wishes?
We're starting.
No.
So it feels to me like the table that we have set for the beginning of next session is a Jimmy Rook job of hard taking a look around to gather information, see what you can spot, do the recon on that.
I mean, if we want to go to St. Mary's, if we just want to go straight to Sadakan,
I'm going to vote St. Mary's, and I'm probably going to one up your nighttime intrusion. Let's go during the day, but see if we can get the monks, the priests or whatever, sort of clear of the area, because wandering around at night, you can't, there'll be people there at night. You actually want to clear shot at the title.
I think you underestimate Jimmy's skills there. Well,
let me just clarify. You want to infiltrate a shadow vampire that hide in the shadows that we cannot see at night and hope to have any chance of success.
I don't want to.
That's why I try and stack some weapons in our favor, like daylight and shit like that. But even,
I'm not going there to kill him. I'm not going there to kill him.
St. Mary's it is.
Let's put a pin in that. But the plan is that we're going to start with the infiltration op with Jimmy as the lead agent on that, figuring out how we want to do that is discussion we'll have next time, and figure out essentially where things go from there. Does that seem fair?
Seems fair.
Okay.
Can you just spell Sadakan for me in the?
Sure. I will do that.
Sadakan. Is that a real place?
I don't think so.
No, it is not.
He's not.
Yeah, is that a church, a location, an old site?
It is an old monastery.
Monastery.
It's on the Black Sea, near the sort of Black Sea touristy areas.
Okay, interesting. Thank you. Just to add to the big board, which is
board.
now looking impressively built on Istanbul.
Vampires can't see the big board. So that's where we're going to stop. I would like to stars and wishes. We have the jump off point for next time with the information that you have as we go into the penultimate session. So Paul, let's start with you. Stars, wishes.
Yeah, I thought Henry's infiltration and use of talents was really good with that guy. Carl played an excellent bodyguard for me and a bodyguard going on, and Jimmy really did deliver the money with the weapons. So some good teamwork all around there and some great GMing.
Wishes?
Bit more action next time. I don't think anything died this time. That's a bit low on the count, really. So, let's start ratcheting it up. Not in the hundreds. We'll save that for the final. But
Well, I'll
at least in the
certainly,
tens.
I'll certainly keep that violence in mind for next time. Jimmy Rook.
Yeah, I guess I would like to touch on that Born Identity style, that part of the thing, the kind of the active agent sort of stuff in terms of wishes, I very much enjoy the softly back and kind of scope everything out and all of that kind of thing. And I have enjoyed the ridiculous stuff that we did last session and all of that. But I would like to do the sort of the middle ground between the two as well,
Yeah, well, we really haven't had a chance for you to really flex your skills. So I would very much like to have that infiltration be a nice full scene in however way you want to frame that.
Yeah, I was thinking I might take the Mother Duck talent, and if anyone wants to come with me. It seems as though, because I've been looking at that talent, but it's just never seemed worth it in our framing.
I have the Mother Duck talent.
Oh, well, you could even lead us in, and then I could,
Well,
if anyone...
no, that takes it away from you, but I don't like two talents doing the same thing.
I'll go it on my own if it's that kind of situation.
Stars?
Stars, I loved Henry's with 6 and a secret contact. That's more great linking back to the stuff. It definitely, I'm a big fan of Henry pretending to be part of the internal conspiracy. That's exactly the kind of manipulativeness that I like to see in this sort of thing. Always bullshit your way. I loved Carl's reaching out to Henry and the frosty reception that it got as well, right at the start. I do, I think we're time pressed, but I love those little interpersonal moments as well between us all. I mean, I love Peter. The let's kill them all.
Murder advocate. Okay.
The murder advocate. Yeah. I really liked the Kasha Lucy stuff. That's a great link back as well. And I wanted to make special mention of equipment scarcity, because it's a thing that I've been thinking about, like based upon my reading of like solo ops and stuff. It's about how, Layla Khan starts off with nothing, right? And she has to acquire every scrap. Whereas we've been kind of playing it as a sort of the A-team almost. We have loads of stuff, and I like that. And I don't like getting bogged down in the details, but I like that as a consequence, even though I immediately kind of worked at resolving that sort of thing.
It's nice because it makes you spend resources. That's what I want, and I do agree with you. It's a thing that should be used sparingly. But yeah. Well, and you got your guns, but you're still strapped on equipment. You're still strapped on some other things, though Henry has money. So those are potential hard moves that are still sitting out there for me.
Yeah,
Henry
Henry has some money that nobody else knows about.
Right. Carl, Pavel?
I really like because having some frosty relationship is so hard in games. I really like this like cold conversation at the beginning we had. I really like this like entire plot about flipping iTurk. It was really excellent. I loved when Jimmy went to buy guns and end up smoking shisha. Yeah.
Wishes?
I don't know. Let's stop this conspiracy somehow.
You want to destroy the conspiracy? I will give you that, or die trying.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Alan, stars, wishes?
Stars. Stars to Pavel for support, for asking for that scene. I wasn't certain what you were going to do with it, Pavel, but it provided a lovely opportunity to kind of call back to last time. So thank you for that. That gave us a little bit of continuity. Lowell, thank you for Mr. Hopkins. I am very tempted. I put a note in the conspiracy board. Edom, not Edom, question mark. Good Edom, bad Edom, question mark. Yeah, that no, you hit my request last time for going espionage rather than Bond. So no, I had a good time today. Thank you. I really enjoyed that conversation with our friend Aturk. Wishes, yeah, I think we owe Jimmy the chance to have a successful intrusion rather than a disastrous one. And I think the idea of Mother Duck, I think it would depend what our objective is, whether we all need to be there.
I mean, I am perfectly happy to go in on my own in the stupidest, like the kind of desperate situation, create that desperate situation.
While we sit
your
in the
friends,
van holding our breath.
Yeah, with your friends nearby to back you up if everything goes south.
Which might then give us an option for Peter's, and it says Skellen. I think it's Peter's Killen. I think that the fact that Peter has Mother Duck might give us a kind of backup opportunity if it goes pear-shaped in there.
Awesome. Thank you all very much. I'm going to stop the recording.